Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I'll be talking about how the Washington Commanders have the worst kept secret in the NFL when it comes to the 2024 NFL Draft, and it's not what you think it is. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. We're close to 13,000 subscribers, trying to hit it by the end of the month. It's free and it takes 1 second. Also, hit that like button and that notification bell as well, and let me know, besides Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whatever quarterback you want the Commanders to take, what's another player you want the Commanders to take in the second round or maybe in the first round if they jump back into it? All right, so let's get right into it. Let me read you guys what Jordan Reed of ESPN says, and a lot of people have echoed this. I've talked about it for a while that I strongly believe the Commanders will not be making their picks at 36 and 40. I feel like there'll be some kind of move, whether it's a move up or a move down and getting some picks for next year. But this is what he said. I think this is the worst kept secret in the draft right now, is the Commanders trading up from 36 to 40 to get an offensive tackle. It just makes so much sense for them to trade up and take advantage of this deep offensive line class. I just don't see Adam Peters having so many picks and just waiting to 36 or 40 for one of those guys to fall to him. And again, totally agree with that. So that is the worst kept secret or whatever. I'm going to go over what it would take to trade it back into the first round, how far up we would trade, and then also we'll be going over some prospects on this list right here. Actually a lot higher than that, of some guys that the Commanders could go ahead and trade up for. Obviously not Joe Alt, that's going to be too high, but some guys down the list they'll be able to trade up for sure. So let's go into what it would take for the Commanders. So this is just a draft trade chart, and you have, the Commanders total draft capital is 4,264, which I believe is either number one or it's number two in the NFL, behind the Bears, who have just, with the number 1 pick and number 9 pick alone, they have more than the Commanders have combined, which is absolutely insane. But I do believe the Commanders have the number 2 most draft capital in the league. And right here, you see the 36th pick is worth 540 points, according to this draft trade chart. And sorry, my computer's unplugged, just plugging it back in there so it doesn't shut down on me, but back into it. This pick is very valuable, 540 points, and they could probably get maybe one of the tackles that they want here, maybe. But again, they have 2 picks right here. You might as well use them. If you used both of these to trade up, that's around, let's say, 1,000 points. You could go up all the way to 16. I don't think they're necessarily going to do that. What I think they'll probably do is, if they want to trade up to the back end of the first round, then they'll probably do number 36 and then, probably 36 and 78. If they want to go into the back end of the first round, that gets you around 740 points. And you can get, depending on how these teams are valuing the picks, anywhere from, let's say, 23 to 26 is probably where you're going to end up being around. And then if you want to move up a little bit higher than that, let's say they get the 540 plus the 78, gets you to 740, and then maybe they do a future third, and that gets you another 100 points, and you get to like 840, 850, and you can get in that 19, maybe like 18 to 20 range-ish. That's one way they could do it. Or they could go 540 and one of the later picks, number 100, which is coincidentally worth 100 points. So that would bring you up to 640, which would basically barely move you up. But this tackle class is very deep, so even moving up 4 or 5 spots might help you get your guy in the back end of the first round. And if they want to get someone like Olu Fashanu, who that's a dream pick for me. Olu Fashanu, I would be ecstatic if we were able to get him. In that case, you're probably looking at 36 and maybe, probably 36 and 40, or you could go like 36 plus 78, which would give you 740, which would move you up to, let's just say hypothetically, 24, and then you give up a future second round pick, which I don't know exactly what's that's gonna equal, but probably going to get you, 300-ish points, which would put you at like, anywhere from like, again, maybe it's more than 300, maybe it's less, like 12 to 15. So it gives you a lot of, if you're moving up all the way that, to the 12th pick or 15th pick, you're going to be able to get one of the second tier guys. So maybe not Joe Alt or Fulaga, but you're going to get one of the second guys. And again, my charger's unplugged. Sorry about that. You're going to be able to get one of these second tier guys if you trade up to that spot. And if you trade up into the late 20s or mid 20s, you'll be able to get a third tier guy, which is still good in this class for sure. And I think it's something that they should do, because look at all the picks the Commanders have. You have the number 2 overall pick, 36, 40, 67, 78, and 100. That's what, 6 picks in the top 100. Usually a top 100 pick is, unless it's, at a certain position, they're going to be playing a lot right away, or at least they're expected to be contributors. With this many players getting drafted in the top 100 in your first few round, in the first 3 rounds, it's going to be tough for all these guys to get playing time. So I would not mind for them to not make 6 selections in the top 100 and instead make 5. I think 5 would be good, and you get a little bit higher quality player, and then you force a little bit less competition and give these guys. And I'm not saying competition is a bad thing, but you do want to give these young guys as many reps as possible, and the attention that they need to develop. And sometimes they're not able to do that with a bunch of new guys. And I also wouldn't mind if they can't figure out a trade up. I wouldn't mind a trade back from, let's say, with one of these second round picks, trade back to wherever you want to, and instead of getting a bunch of picks this year, maybe you still get one pick this year, like a third rounder or a later second round pick, but you get some future picks for next year, get some leverage and some ammunition for the next year to do something. If you want to move up and get not a quarterback, well, probably not, hopefully not. Hopefully Jaden or Drake, whoever it is, balls out, and even if they don't, which if it doesn't happen, knock on wood, they're not going to be drafting quarterback next year, but they can trade up to get a receiver or another offensive lineman for that quarterback. So let's look at some guys that they could go after. Again, Joe Alt's not happening. Fuaga from Oregon State, it's unlikely. Those two, let's just take them off the list, because I think they're going to be taken in the top 10-ish. And then the next tier is like, I guess, the first tier is Joe Alt. After that, it's very subjective, and that's a good thing too, that all these teams might have different rankings and orders. So the Commanders might be able to get their number 3 tackle at 20, but he might be the 5th tackle taken, just because of how different the boards are going to be. You got Olu Fashanu, very, very talented. A lot of people thought he'd be the number 1 tackle taken, and then, as the draft process started and the season, college football season ended, you could see it start to trend in the opposite direction, him going down the boards a little bit. Still think he's very talented, and, you add Patanu into that second. I feel like these 3 right here are in tier 2, so if you want to trade up to one of those guys, you're going to have to trade up into the top 15, I believe. I mean, you look at a lot of these teams, top 3 aren't going to go O-line. Top 4 aren't. 5, I think the Chargers, they won't take an offensive lineman here at 5, but they'll probably, someone will trade up, maybe like the Vikings, and then the Chargers will trade back, but I think they'll take an offensive lineman. I really do think they will. Titans, no doubt, are taking an offensive lineman. Bears, probably not, but you could see it happening. The Jets could take one. They have old players there on offensive line. And you see some of the other teams that need offensive line as well. So you're going to have to move up kind of high if you want to get one of these guys. So again, you're going to have to give up number 36, probably 67 or 78, and then a future pick for the next year as well, just as insurance. And then tier 2 guys, J.C. Latham, I don't know too much about him, but you got Marius Mims, Graham Barton. Those are guys that a lot of people think are going to go in the first round, and there'll be a lot of different opinions on them. So we'll see. Jordan Morgan's a guy, is going to be late first, early second. Same thing with Tyler Guyton. Probably going to be a late first round pick. His ADP here on PFF is 31.5 or 31.3, so he's just squeaking in there. But PFF does have him ranked lower than a lot of people do, so that's partly why his ADP is lower. So yeah, Tyler Guyton's a guy to watch out for too. And then in the second round, some guys to watch out for if we stay put at 36. There's a guy like Jordan Morgan, Kingsley Suamataya, Kieran. I'm sorry, these two names are tough to pronounce. Brandon Coleman probably will get drafted in like round 3 or something. He's been flying up draft boards as well. And another possibility is the Commanders trade up and get a receiver to help out Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whoever the quarterback is. Obviously, it's not going to be Marvin Malik. Let me take out offensive tackle too. It's not going to be Marvin. It's not going to be Malik. It's not going to be Roma Dunze. After that, though, it could be any of these guys: Adonai Mitchell, Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin, Lad McConkey, Keon Coleman, Roman Wilson. There's a lot of different guys. Xavier Worthy that could be picked if they want to take him in the second round. If they want to trade up into the first, maybe the only guy there that is going to, that you're going to need to do that for is like Brian Thomas, maybe Adonai Mitchell and Troy Franklin. But that's really it. I think a lot of these, it's a very top, at least these guys right here, they're in their own tier. And then after that, I think there's a little bit of a drop off. So they're not going to be taken in like the top 15, top 20. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy talking about some possibilities. I really hope we take a tackle and trade up into the first round again. I think it would be a good idea and help out our young quarterback a lot, so that instead of next year, hopefully it's a great year by Jaden or Drake, and we're not worried about after the season's over and we're like, oh, we got to fix the offensive line. Maybe we still have to add some players, but we'll be like, okay, we have Olu Fashanu or Graham Barton or whoever it is to build on, and they're going to keep developing. But that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.